Alright, good evening. I was hoping to have by this point a video about my head being rebuilt. I had a gentleman I know starting a side or his own business, work on cars, but he was going to come out and work on it, but for whatever reason he just hasn't been able to come out. And previously when the head gasket blew, or I knew it was blown, I tried one of those additives, add it to the radiator, and you know, it didn't work. But looking back, it doesn't look like I did it correctly, and that particular brand doesn't have a very good reputation. So I've decided to give it another go because it looks like I might have to just start doing it myself, which is something that I'm just really not up to, just because I know I can't give it the dedicated time to do it, and so I hate to break it up over multiple days, but that just looks like what I might have to do. But this product has pretty good reviews, and I figure if it doesn't work, they do have a money back guarantee on it, so if it doesn't work, I guess I'm not really out any money. They had two products, one which you could add to the coolant, which is this one that you have to drain the coolant and put in water, and then drain out the water, and then you know, after it was done, and then put in coolant again. So I decided to go with this one, just because I don't feel like draining out the coolant and all that. So they say that both work just as good. Just go over the instructions. It says do not add to engine oil. Read the entire label. Ensure water pump and thermostat are working, which they are. Shake vigorously, which I'll do in a moment. Start with cold engine. Remove radiator cap, which this doesn't have because it's an 89. So I have to pour it into the top radiator hose, which I have here, and I've unhooked it. It says with engine idling slowly. Shake vigorously start with cold engine. Remove radiator cap. Do not pour fluid. So it says to add to the top radiator hose slowly and reattach hose and clamp. Then go to step 5. So at step 5, replenish antifreeze to proper level and replace radiator cap, which we would replace the hose, and then top off the radiator fluid in the reservoir. With radiator cap on, turn the heater on high and idle engine until normal operating temperature is reached, about 15 minutes. Check fluid, top off if needed. Repair is permanent, but you may leave FiberLock and cooling system for continued protection. So I'll go ahead, put it in. It says for 12 quarts use 1/3 of the bottle. So I'll go ahead, pour in 1/3 of the bottle. I'll need both hands to do that, so I'm going to put the camera down, turn it off actually, and then fill it up. Then I'll go to idle it, and then we will monitor the temperature. I won't monitor it for the full 15 minutes, but we'll just see what it does and if it runs any better, if it fixes the head gasket leak, because this I think was about 30 bucks, so 30 bucks versus the multi-$100 I would spend on the head gasket leak. But alright, thank you. Don't know if you can see that in there pretty well, but it almost looks like paper mache when you're pouring it out. You can see that there's supposed to be some copper or something in there that I guess melts into the thing. There's all sorts of spiffy technology supposedly that goes into making this work. So go ahead, and I have about 1/3 of the bottle in now, and so I'll go ahead, cap everything back up, and go from there. Alright, so I actually ended up using about half a bottle, and that's mostly from my own stupidity. This clamp right here, this tang of it, was actually sticking up under here and preventing me from putting the hose down. So I went to push the hose down and squished the hose, and a bunch of it squirted out. So I had to refill it, bend this back, and then put the hose on, and I just kind of rinse everything down lightly with a slow hose, just to rinse all that material off. So now we're going to go ahead and start it up. since that's what the instructions say to do, and then run it for about 15 minutes. Hopefully it starts. It started every time, but my voltage is pretty low because it's been sitting. Hopefully I haven't damaged my battery. So let's give it a whirl. See, yeah, my voltage has been sitting there, but it's been starting, so. There we go. So now we're just going to let it sit. Let it get up to running temp is what it says to do. It doesn't say what to do after that. It says it should take about 15 minutes or so. So I'll let it run for that. Probably let it run for another 5-10 minutes, unless it starts to overheat. If it starts to get too hot at all, I'll shut it off quickly, but I'll let it run for a minute. It's one thing that's always driven me nuts. I've actually paid to get that fixed, but my oil pressure sender, I don't know if it's bad or if I have a bad ground, but 99% of the time it just, when the car starts, it sits there. Otherwise it kind of sits just above, I assume, the 20 mark that's there. If it's actually working, it sits right above that 20 psi mark. So like I said, I paid to get that fixed. Hasn't gotten fixed. Temperature is still on. Brake is on, so that's good. Radio still works, which is good. It says to turn the heat on, but my heat doesn't actually work. It's putting out my feet, but it never gets hot. I don't know if my heater core is clogged or if there's a vacuum system that needs to be addressed. So right now it's blowing up my feet, but it will always blow cold. So I may just have a clogged heater core, which would suck. I have no plans to to fix that anytime soon. So, but yeah, that annoys me that I paid to get that fixed and they did not fix it. So the shop that did that, they had done a lot of work for me. Some of it I think they did a good job, and some of it I'm like, really? So I brought it back to them twice and it still hasn't been fixed properly. So anywho, so we'll let this run, and I will record back once I have some more information. Alright, as you can see, the temperature is slowly climbing up. It's been going for a number of minutes now. So we'll let it get up to operating temp, and then I'll let it run there, or unless it starts to get much above, I'll let it get up to that line right past the 210. If it hits that point, I'll go ahead and shut it off, or if it hangs around 210. It's pretty cool this evening. It's been raining. It's probably 69, 68, something like that outside right now. So it's actually a really nice temperature tonight. A little humid because of the rain, so voltage looks good. Oil pressure still wonky. Speedo jiggles. I gotta look into that. When I'm driving, it bounces. Low speeds, it bounces pretty bad actually, and as I get up to higher speeds, it actually bounces a little bit less. So that's another thing I'll need to address eventually. So there we go, climbing up the temperature. So I'll turn off the video again for a little bit, and when we get up to operating temp, I'll kick it back on. Thanks. Alright, we're just about up to operating temp. One thing that's kind of funny is I'm actually getting some slightly warm air out of the heat now. I mean, it's not hot by any stretch of the imagination, but it's definitely warmer than ambient temperature. So give that a little bit here. Sorry, the engine's not the smoothest in the world. I definitely need to replace my exhaust and probably my engine mounts eventually. So see how well it holds there at that 210. When I watched these videos, oh, did it just drop? Oh, it just dropped. It must have, my auxiliary fan must have kicked on. But when I watched these videos for this particular product, it was actually quite impressive. I don't know how much advertising mumbo jumbo goes into it, but they put the fluid in, and then you know, the car's pouring white smoke out of the exhaust, which mine isn't doing. I'm not burning that much coolant. But then as the stuff has a chance to get in there and work itself through, the white smoke actually disappears and the car's running like crap. Then all of a sudden it's running better. I mean, it's pretty impressive if those videos are at all truthful in their claims. But we're hitting 210 again now. I wonder if he'll kick that fan on and drop the temperature again. I've never seen that before. And normally, you know, since it's been had the blown head gasket, it stayed right at 210 or slightly above, and then would suddenly just start to climb. I never got it into the red. I never let it get past that top white mark. As soon as I realized, yeah, it dropped again. That's something I've never seen before. So I wonder if that means something's working or something's not working, or my thermostat's opening, closing. I don't know. So if anybody has any thoughts on that, I'd appreciate it. I know this video is a bit choppy. I really need a better camera setup. If you go to the link in the description, I have a link to my Amazon partner channel. Please feel free to use that link if you decide to buy anything on Amazon.com. Your experience on Amazon is exactly what you expect. However, a small percentage goes back to of your purchases goes back to my YouTube channel. Helps me buy camera equipment and repair equipment for my vehicle. So any little bit helps. I do appreciate the support I've received. So we've been running at idle for quite a while, and it's not overheating. So there's that needle dropping again. I wonder if this has done the trick. I really need to get some more gas in it. It's at a quarter, which this thing, I put a new fuel pump in it, and it doesn't really register quite correct. So I need to go get some gas. I currently have this on a non-op title, so put it as non-operational, so I can take insurance off of it, because it has been running since the end of I want to say mid-August. So it's been quite a while. It's now December. So if this works, I may take it off that non-operational, get it out on some trails, which I would absolutely love to do. So would be extremely happy if this fixes the issue, even just temporarily, even if it's just, you know, puts off having to do that head gasket, you know, 6 months or even a year, even 5 months, or even, you know, just a couple months, just because, you know, Christmas money. I don't think anybody wants to spend a bunch of money on car repairs right before Christmas. So, well, so far, you know, this video's been going 5 minutes now, and or, you know, this segment of it, I should say. Obviously, it's broken up into a bunch of little pieces, but so far, I'm liking what I see. It's not overheating. It's not. It's running a little bit smoother, I think, than it was. So what I'll do is I'll have. I'll see if I can't pressure test the system again and see what happens. But as of right now, pretty happy with that temperature. It definitely would have gotten too hot by this point. So go ahead and end the video, turn it off, turn off the car, and let it sit. It says to wait 12 hours before you do anything with it, so definitely won't be touching it till tomorrow, and then go from there. Alright, thanks. You thought you were done with me. I decided to do one last thing. I don't know if you can hear, but I decided to turn on the AC full blast and run that with the heat off, just to see if that have any effect, because obviously AC puts extra strain on the engine. It does kick in the electrical fan, but that didn't seem to do anything for me as far as overheating, because I had a blown head gasket. So you know, this definitely has been running well over the required 15 minutes. I'm not overheated. I have pretty much killed myself with the exhaust fumes since I'm sitting here with the door open and exhaust pouring out, or out of the tailpipe. So I'm going to go ahead and shut it off and go inside for a breath of fresh air. But so far so good. So definitely time to possibly, get the system pressure tested again and go from there.